Hi, this is Andy Van Kleunen. I'm speaking to you from Washington, D.C. in what is going to be the first of a series of ongoing video reports from TWA staff telling you what's going on with the skills agenda both here in Washington, D.C. and out there in the States, and all of your work to try to get investing in people to be a more central part of our nation's economic policy, particularly during this time of economic recession and recovery. So the big buzz here in Washington on the skills agenda recently has been emanating from some things that we've been hearing from the White House over the past week, including an announcement made last Friday by President Obama regarding a series of forthcoming changes in job training and higher education policy, starting with some changes to make it easier for workers who've been laid off during the current recession to be able to go back to school with Pell Grants so they can retrain for a new job without taking any penalties to their unemployment insurance, which is how they're living while they're in between jobs. That's a really important development. We see that as important for a couple different reasons. One is because it's looking at a range of workers who've typically not been well served by our higher education system and trying to making it easier for them to get new skills. And we see it as a first step of real policy change in terms of implementing the President's vision for getting every American at least 1 year of education and training past high school to help them get a good job in the new economy, a goal which is very similar to that of the National Skills to Compete campaign. Here in this Workforce Development's e-newsletter, you're also going to find about other interesting stuff that's going on here in D.C. around the Sectors Act, where we've got new co-sponsorships from both the Democratic and Republican sides of Congress in both the House and the Senate, and that's due to a lot of good work of many of you out there in the field, as well as some folks who came in to talk about sectoral training programs as part of a new report on their effectiveness as released by Public-Private Ventures and funded by the Mott Foundation. Out in the States, there's a lot of good work going on as well. I had the privilege last week of being part of a meeting organized by Governor Martin O'Malley, the governor of Maryland, bringing together folks from a bunch of different states to talk about how they're doing and implementing the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. We think that Maryland is really taking seriously this charge of being transformative and thinking innovatively about how to bring together adult ed, voc ed, and higher ed to make skills available to a much wider range of Americans so they can all be part of this recovery. And I know that many of you are working out there in the states to make that happen in your states as well. And we'll talk about some of that in this e-newsletter. Also look forward to some announcements from our field directors about some calls that we're going to be organizing between folks in different states so you can kind of share lessons and see how it is that you're each working to advance that issue within your own communities. That's the latest from the Workforce Alliance. Thank you for everything you're doing to help America's workers and businesses gain the skills to compete in today's economy.